BTC says the worst in cellular service disruptions is over.
So we want customers to bear with us.
More arrests made in the Abaco boat tragedy, the Chamber of Commerce on the economy, plus a youth band from Acklands and Crooked Island has a special treat for the police commissioner. I'm Nikia DeVoe and this is NB12 Weekend. Thanks for joining us this Saturday evening. Yesterday, thousands of cellular customers on New Providence experienced extensive disruptions in service for the second time since the Bahamas Telecommunications Company announced that its massive upgrade exercise would affect service beginning this month. Well, according to a BTC official, the worst of it is over, and soon customers will be compensated for the inconvenience.
By the time we get through this weekend, and certainly by the time we get to the end of the month, we don't expect to see those kinds of disruptions going forward.
Last month, BTC warned that for a 6-week period beginning in June, cellular customers could experience extensive disruptions in service as the company installs a new 2G network, new SMS platform, and implements changes to the prepaid billing system. Johnson said so far the company is making every effort to keep disruptions to a minimum.
We try to time as much as possible all of the disruptions in our maintenance window from 2 a.m. to 5 to 6 a.m. Unfortunately, sometimes things spill over. Certain issues arise during the transition that we can't predict. So as happened yesterday, during the afternoon, we did have an outage on the mobile system for most customers.
After BTC is done with upgrades to New Providence, the company will continue with the remainder of the Family Islands. Johnson says those upgrades are not expected to affect services in the capital.
Well, it may affect people trying to reach people in the Family Islands. But again, because the lion's share of the work involved our core network, which is the prepaid billing system and the other elements of the core platform, we really, even as we move into the Family Islands, we don't expect to see this kind of disruption going forward. You know, yes, there may be some fluctuations up and down. We're not quite clear out and out of the woods yet. But our expectation is, all things considered, that we're past the worst of it.
And many customers are asking about compensation for the inconvenience. Johnson says BTC understands the frustration of customers and is planning to compensate cell customers, however, not in the traditional form.
What we intend to do is in July, again, once the network is stabilized, we'll run a promotion that we believe will give back in a tangible way to both our prepaid customers and our postpaid customers. So whereas it's a challenge to do one-for-one direct compensation, and it's really impossible to compensate people for their inconvenience. You know, it is hard to put a dollar value on that. Instead, what we'll do is we'll run what we believe to be a really substantial and significant promotion that will provide an in-kind recognition for the outage.
Johnson says upgrades throughout the entire Bahamas are expected to be complete by the end of August. Well, new information being released about the Abaco boating tragedy that resulted in the drowning of at least 11 women and children of Haitian descent. 5 men were arrested yesterday in connection with the boating incident. Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Bethel said that 3 men, a 28-year-old and 36-year-old from New Providence and a 43-year-old from Abaco, were arrested yesterday morning at Potter's Key Dock and are being held at the Central Detective Unit. The other 2 men were arrested in Abaco. Police officials revealing today that the name of the 25-foot boat that was carrying 28 people to the United States from Abaco on a human smuggling mission is actually Cozy Time, not Glory Time as initially reported. A teenage Haitian boy who escaped from the sinking vessel told police that he, along with 6 other men, swam to shore. Police are still on the hunt for the captain, who they believe is 52-year-old Chancellor Baptiste. We're told that Baptiste is the father of at least 3 of the 5 children whose bodies were pulled from the overturned vessel in the Foxtown Harbor in Abaco late last Sunday. The Miami Herald reported Thursday that the Haitian community in South Florida mourned the tragedy, and Haitian advocates called on President Barack Obama to approve the Haitian Family Reunification Parole Program. According to the Miami Herald, the program would allow the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to start paroling the most vulnerable Haitians who have already been approved for entry into the United States and allow them to be reunified with family members. Some of them have been languishing for up to 11 years on a waiting list in Haiti. Meantime, police are investigating a shooting at a popular fast food chain that has left a man in hospital. According to Superintendent Stephen Dean, a man was in a vehicle with a woman on the drive-through line at Wendy's Village Road location around 9 last night when he was approached by a gunman who was on foot. The gunman demanded that the man get out of the vehicle, and he refused. There was a struggle as the gunman tried to get the man out of the car. He was shot in his face during that struggle. Dean could not say what the man's present condition is, and he could not say what the circumstances were surrounding the incident. Investigations into that matter continue. Well, police emergency numbers are down again, and police still have no explanation why. Last weekend, police confirmed that 911 and 919 went down, and today they're dealing with the same issue. Police are once again encouraging members of the public to use alternative numbers provided in the event of an emergency. Temporary emergency numbers are 323-0854, 323-0845, 323-0850, and 323-0853. And in other news, the 2012-2013 budget debate wrapped up in the House of Assembly on Wednesday evening. During the debate, we learned that while it's projected that domestic economic growth will not top 3% this year, the Christie administration plans to borrow more than $500 million during the upcoming fiscal year. In this report, our Jasmine Bonamy sits down with Chamber of Commerce President Chester Cooper, who explains the business community's take on the government's fiscal future.
Since coming into office, the Christie administration has predicted that the Bahamian economy will grow by just over 2% in 2012. And while some say the figure is just too low, President of the Chamber of Commerce, Chester Cooper, says it's a modest growth. Shortly after delivering the 2012-2013 budget communication, Prime Minister Perry Christie revealed that domestic economic growth of 2.5% is expected in 2012 and growth of 2.7% is expected in 2013. Christie says those figures are in line with forecasts from the International Monetary Fund. In 2011, the economy grew by only 1.6% as it was still recovering from the global economic downturn that began in 2008. That downturn led to the loss of tens of thousands of jobs throughout the country. And while there is only modest economic growth projected for this year, Cooper insists it's a much-needed improvement for extraordinarily difficult times.
I think these are extraordinarily difficult times for the economy. If we are able to achieve a 2.5% growth for 2012 or 2013, I think that would bode quite well for business. This is a different world we're living in now. The question really is, where will the growth come from? We need an expansion of the economy, obviously, to increase revenues.
And speaking of revenue, the Christie administration predicts that during this fiscal year, recurrent revenue from 2012 to 2013 is projected at $1.55 billion. That's more than $100 million than the government will take in when the current fiscal year closes at the end of the month. Cooper insists even more revenue can be generated if the government looks at other potentially lucrative industry and thinks outside the tourism and financial services boxes. That includes the controversial oil industry.
We have in the past focused our economy around the two major industries, mainly tourism and financial services. We must continue to try to grow these industries, but it's my view that we now need to look at the expansion of the economy by focusing on some of the other industries, ship registry, agribusiness, whether we ought to take another look at LNG is a question that needs to be answered. The question of oil exploration in the Bahamas is something that I believe the public need to become more aware of. It's certainly a view that I've expressed, that it's something we can't not look at.
With the global economic recession still impacting many nations across the world, Cooper says he believes even the slight increase in economic growth this year is a good sign. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.